As excited as we are for this year's Black Adam movie, we can't help but wonder about the fractured state of DC's attempted cinematic universe. Many of the heroes that were supposed to carry this franchise have left, but the fate of a few is up in the air, including Superman himself. In this video, we take a look at a TV spot for Black Adam that might answer some questions about Superman. First up, Black Adam's out here bragging that no one on Earth can stop him. In a recent trailer that's been airing on TV across the world, Black Adam is puffing his chest about how he's the baddest of them all. He claims that no one on Earth can stop him, even though we kinda know that isn't true. Like, we're definitely expecting him to lose to Shazam when they end up showing down. But there's a little more to this line than meets the eye. Fans who have been following this movie know that Dwayne Johnson has been pushing to get this movie made for almost as long as he's been in Hollywood to begin with. And he was so enamored with Henry Cavill's version of Superman that he's been demanding a matchup between himself and Superman ever since Man of Steel. So his line in the movie kinda feels like a challenge to Superman, even if Batman could probably beat Black Adam without any powers at all. Should we expect Black Adam to meet his dream opponent? Not in this movie, at least. For one thing, the Black Adam movie coming out this year will try to position the Justice Society of America as his foes, thus giving them the spotlight. But even besides that, we don't even know if Henry Cavill is Superman right now. At the moment, the Justice League is putting all callers on hold. After DC finally managed to bring their Justice League crossover together, the team has kinda scattered to the winds. Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa are still sticking around as Wonder Woman and Aquaman respectively. For now, anyway. Ben Affleck has quit his role as Batman, and Ray Fisher wants nothing to do with the DC Extended Universe anymore. Ezra Miller will probably have one last hurrah as the Flash before spending the rest of his life in prison, but we still don't know what came of Henry Cavill's Superman. So who really is there to stop Black Adam from conquering the world? The Suicide Squad may be good at taking down giant starfishes, but they're maybe a little too dysfunctional to take on such a powerful individual. Peacemaker needs to fix his ego problems before he can take on Black Adam with his team, although seeing Peacemaker battle Black Adam will be like WrestleMania 28 all over again. Shazam may be the only one who can actually take this guy on pound for pound, but he's barely figured out the superhero thing just yet. His level of inexperience was such that his arch nemesis couldn't even be introduced in his debut movie. This kind of situation really shows that the DCEU needs its Superman, and it's a shame that Superman isn't anywhere to be found. Let's try to figure out what's going on with Superman. The story so far is that Henry Cavill wasn't very happy with the way Zack Snyder and Warner Bros. Were handling his character. As we went through Batman v Superman and then Justice League, Cavill's Justice League experience was doubly soured by his dealings with Joss Whedon, who we now know is just the worst, and his scheduling conflicts with that year's Mission Impossible movie. Since that movie came out way back in 2017, the media latched on and reported every single piece of news about the actor's future in the role. Meanwhile, it sure looked like Cavill was moving on from Superman as he picked up a passion project role as Geralt of Rivia in Netflix's adaptation of The Witcher. The DCEU, meanwhile, has released quite a few films without him. Superman's last appearance in a movie was in the post-credits scene of Shazam, but there, we only saw him from the chest down. It's probably safe to assume that wasn't Henry Cavill. But why do a Superman cameo at all? This was the first sign people had that we may not have seen the last of Cavill's Superman after all. Though that was a few years ago, the hints have only gotten stronger since. Coming up, the signs are stronger than ever. You wouldn't think that Dwayne Johnson would be allowed to just keep mouthing off about Superman and giving fans the wrong idea, right? Studios keep such tight control of the narrative surrounding their movies that if Johnson has been talking about Superman so much, there must be something to it. Famously, a few months ago, Johnson was asked about Superman appearing in his movie, and while he didn't say yes, he also didn't say no. At DC's San Diego Comic TechCon panel, there were strong insider rumors that Henry Cavill would be appearing. That would be all the confirmation you'd need that Cavill is still in the game. Alas, that didn't end up happening. However, The Rock did take the opportunity to make some more remarks about Henry Cavill and Superman, leading to further speculation. It's become clear at this point that if Henry Cavill isn't due for a return right now, Johnson is putting pressure on the studio to make it happen at any cost. And the People's Champ has the star power to make that happen. After all, this whole movie only exists thanks to the dogged insistence of Dwayne Johnson. Right now, the rumor, or pipe dream if you prefer, is that Cavill will make his grand return to the DCEU in a short cameo in Black Adam. That sort of thing usually happens in post-credits scenes, but you never know. The hype is so strong at this point that audiences will be crushed if it doesn't end up happening. Now, in other related news, Aquaman and Shazam! Fury of the Gods have been hit with delays. While Black Adam is on track for its October release date, we were also supposed to get the sequel to Shazam, titled Fury of the Gods, this year. Just months later, in fact. But this week, Warner Bros. Announced that they were delaying the release of that movie all the way to March 17th of next year. That slot was previously taken up by Aquaman and The Last Kingdom, so it too has gotten pushed to the end of the year. You can now catch the sequel on the 25th of December next year. Clearly, this was a decision made by the new residents at Warner Bros. Discovery's C-suite. The real question is why they'd make this delay. Is it because releasing two Shazam movies so close to each other is unorthodox and not a great idea? Or does the Aquaman editing bay need time to thoroughly cleanse the film of Amber Heard? It's even possible that there are other movies that the company has yet to announce. Speaking of the new management, let's talk about their 10-year plan. It's safe to say that the old management at Warner Bros. Has completely bungled the DCEU. David Zaslav, the new president and CEO of the company, has announced that the company will now embark on a 10-year plan for its superhero movies. That's exactly the thing that haters of the old DCEU were asking for. But what could this plan entail? It seems like the company itself may not know yet. They have a vacancy open for someone to serve as a Kevin Feige-esque architect for their cinematic universe, although we can assume that Zack Snyder's resume has gone in the shredder. What we can say is that it clearly doesn't include Batgirl, and while scrapping the movie, they stated that it was neither big enough to be a blockbuster nor small enough to fit on a streaming service. But that doesn't really tell us which heroes will or won't be in their DCEU, aside from the fact that they're retaining the cast of Shazam and the cast of Aquaman. Unfortunately, they're also retaining Ezra Miller as the Flash. Despite all the news surrounding Ezra Miller throughout the year, the Flash is still on track to come out in June of next year. And also, the fastest man in the world remains at large. Warner Bros. Discovery is keeping a stiff upper lip about Ezra Miller's shenanigans, hoping to salvage his image enough to make some kind of a return on their big Flash movie. If they are planning on cutting him from their 10-year plan, we won't hear of it until that movie is out. We did get to see a photo from the set of the movie showing off the Flash's new suit. In contrast to the sort of thrown-together look of his Justice League fit, his suit in this movie is looking more polished. It also looks like his suit in the comics, which would be exciting to people if not for, well, everything else that's been going on with this film. That's it for today's video. What's your take on the Henry Cavill situation? Do you think he'll be returning to the DCEU at all? Or are we all excited over nothing? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.